Here to the Sidelines Sports Invitational presented by the Collegiate Conference Series. I'm back with Somber for day 2, starting off with the 7th place game. Nebraska takes on Connecticut.
UConn going to 5 against Northern Illinois was not in my bingo card. I thought that UConn was going to be able to squeak out a win there, especially despite the loss against FAU. They looked pretty good to start the evening off yesterday, but hey, they're in here for the 7th place match, and we get to see what UConn brings to the table with a fresh day behind them.
Absolutely, and I think tonight's games are obviously they're seeded out after yesterday's performances, and hopefully we get some good games tonight. I think Nebraska obviously had a forfeit yesterday, but tonight I think UConn's a formidable opponent for the Cornhuskers, and it could be a fun one. And FAU West Virginia should be interesting, and Grand Canyon LA Tech later should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, especially with how LA Tech played yesterday. After the broadcast, me and Taquito, we kind of hung out. We talked over the games. I wasn't able to catch a lot of them. I was kind of up and away from my desk between some of them and throughout some of the series, so I didn't get to see all the games that happened. But I know that he had a couple Game 5 thrillers with LA Tech, and they looked really good, man. From what we saw on broadcast, from what I heard from Taquito, they look locked in, and I think that that's going to be a very fun matchup between them later on this evening.
Absolutely agreed. I think it's going to be an interesting game as well. I think Grand Canyon is probably the favorite, but again, LA Tech won this tournament last spring, so I think what's one more? Why can't they win one more?
Yeah, why not them? Especially GCU. Like GCU, they did a typical GCU thing of coming back late in the game. They had the own goal from Cal that prevented the overtime, but they looked like they let off the gas a little bit, and I think that teams that have a tendency to start off a little bit slower, and then in series where they start to wrap up the games, they start to take their foot off the gas and stop taking the game to their opponent, stop being aggressive. I think LA Tech is going to be able to capitalize on that and push that one the distance. It's going to be a very nice kind of litmus test to see where LA Tech is at for the season as well.
I agree. I think all 8 of these teams are going to have interesting seasons, and hopefully we get to see a couple of them later on stream of the year. But I think it's fun to do events like this. So and shout out to Sideline Sports and Graham and the team over there. They're all a bunch of cool people, and it's been fun to work with them, and we're excited to see what this year brings. As we're just waiting on Nebraska to hop in here.
Yeah, and hopefully they're able to jump in and play a good game. I know yesterday they didn't get any reps against any of these squads. I think that they would have had a nice showing out against Cal, and we maybe would have seen Cal Connecticut here, but that's the way things work out sometimes. Life happens, and Nebraska find themselves in a 7th place match after not playing yesterday. But again, I think that this is their opportunity to come out and show that maybe if they had played yesterday, we'd be talking about them in the upper part of this bracket, but they do get to play a very good UConn team. I liked a lot of things that I saw from them. They do have some things to work on. I think that, again, Nebraska is going to be a tough opponent for them, but a good indicator of where they're going to be heading out into conference play here for the regular season.
Absolutely, and it's interesting though because all these teams played 2 non-conference games, but these 8 teams had to play 3. And today's game 3. Everyone played twice yesterday, so now today a 3rd opportunity to add a big win to your resume.
Yeah, absolutely. Nebraska would be a absolutely massive victory for Connecticut to grab. They have been kind of on the decline over the last couple of seasons. They once were like a premier team and a big powerhouse here for CCS, and obviously Nebraska brings along their fans as well, so they're always going to have the support of the chat behind them. But again, I think UConn is a team. They have the tools in front of them that are going to make them a threat to Nebraska, but I think that this is still a heavily favored matchup in Nebraska's favor.
Yeah, I think so too, but UConn has gone through a lot of roster iterations over the last couple of years, and I've gotten to watch them play all the way since 2019 in BLCS, so it's been a long time. I've gotten to watch this program develop through old rosters, and now this brand new roster for 2025-26, and I'm excited to see what this roster can do this year.
Yeah, especially Carlitos. I feel like yesterday Carlitos was maybe not on the scoreboard or in the commentators' minds a lot, but from what I saw, Carlitos was doing a lot of things to help Connecticut build offensive pressure and have an offensive strategy and a game plan going into these games. So I'm going to be interested to see if they're able to, one, repeat that performance coming out from Carlitos, and then also being able to build on it a little bit. Nebraska going to be, again, a much tougher opponent, much tougher defense behind them, and it's going to be a real test for Connecticut on their offense and their defense as well, with Nebraska coming out. I don't know if they've had any roster changes going into this season, but either way, Nebraska is going to be hunting right back for a top spot in CCS here this season.
I mean, the Big Ten's tough. They played 9 league games this fall, and again, there's obviously Illinois, Penn State, Indiana. They got to deal with later Maryland as well, and Nebraska is going to have a tough road ahead of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they play in one of the top heavy conferences, one of the big hitter conferences here in CCS, and it's going to be an interesting season coming from Nebraska as well. UConn, I think that they're kind of the favorites out of their conference as well. They're going to have some competition, I believe, with DePaul as they look towards the regular season. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how Nebraska starts off the season. This is our first look at them on a stream, and we get to now see kickoff for game 1 of the 7th place match here for the Sidelines Sports Invitational.
We're underway in game 1, and Nebraska, probably favorites here tonight, Somber, but UConn, again, a really solid team as well, promising puts on the first.
And just like that, it only takes 7 seconds for Nebraska to get on the board, and Mincy and Promising linking up off the kickoff to get that one to go through. We get the Cornhuskers, their first goal and their inaugural goal on stream here for the CCS season. See if UConn can respond quickly. Lamb, they're going to have a free dribble, but great defense coming out from Mincy to take that one off the hood of the car. Lamb going to rotate all the way back, let Matrix take over the play. Mincy able to find a read off that waterfall down off the ceiling. Will be Promising to the skies. Not able to find possession through the skies, but it will be Creed down below. Try to fake out Carlitos, but will be Mincy now taking over possession out of the corner here for the Cornhuskers. Lamb, nice shot to the backboard, looking for a teammate. Matrix will play that one slow. Demo in net as well, and UConn respond quickly.
1-1, and Matrix going to put the Huskies on the board here in game 1, and that's the first of the night in the 7th place game between Nebraska and Connecticut, and these things back and forth in that first minute.
And this is what I expected out of UConn, especially after their performance yesterday, was they're going to feel a little bit more warmed up. They played some tough games, and they're going to come out and take the fight here to Nebraska. But again, Nebraska, first game on stream, still probably knocking off some of that summertime rust here as they open things up. Carlitos with a nice little air dribble, looking for a bump on the fall down. Mincy going to play it slow and avoid that contact. Matrix follow-up shot quickly denied by Promising, and a big clear downfield. We'll be able to put pressure on Carlitos to take this one through. Ceiling pinch is going to be just off target. Creed going to take their time to the back wall, grab some boost. Another demo in net. UConn showing some aggression here, trying to open up that shooting lane. Won't be able to find it, and they are not able to get the transition good to go either. Matrix, heavy-handed touch, might be able to find it on the angle back, and just like that, the double commit does not come to fruition for Nebraska, and it's UConn putting on a second.
3:36 to go. UConn leads by 1, and still a lot of clock left for Nebraska. And it's again their first true game of the season, Sombers. They missed last night's action due to being at the Nebraska football game. Can't blame them. They put up like 65 points on, I believe it was Akron, at Lincoln Memorial Stadium last night.
Yeah, I mean, you can never pass up an opportunity to get that college experience. Going to a non-conference home game here for your school, and absolutely electric. I remember going to some of the UW games, was just some of the best memories that I had with some of my buddies. So, gotta take some time to smell the flowers, right? You take some time and go to a football game with the friends. Ooh, Matrix. Not that they are gonna get that. Saw a little bit of a rubber band, maybe the server not on their side here, but that's just gonna be a nice clean beat from Creed off that sidewall touch and falls on in. Yeah, you see the rubber band in the replay. Matrix, thought that they're gonna be able to get that one up to the backboard, but it falls on through for a Nebraska response.
Mincy the third as well this season for Nebraska, and he's been trying to fill the footsteps of Noe. It's been a tough shoe to fill for this Nebraska offense. It clearly misses Noe, as he was a prime player during that special season 3 run last summer that led Nebraska to their glory in CCS when they pulled off a couple of crazy upset victories, and now for the last year, it's been not as good as Nebraska's had hoped for, and hopefully this fall they can get things together again.
Ooh, that's just going to be a little bit of a lax defensive play there. Creed stuck in net. They rotate, grab that boost. They're in prime position. They look for the squishy initially, and then end up just caught in the back of net. Going to be Carlitos able to knock that one through. Approaching halftime, and has been trading blows back and forth on the score line. UConn find that lead once more. Off the kickoff, Carlitos able to take this one to the air. Bad matrix, but will opt for the sidewall read instead. Gets it on target, forces Mincy to go. Creed with a big time miss. Matrix on the follow-up will not be able to put some power behind it. The big time pinch clear away here for Nebraska to come out unscathed.
2:18 left to go in game number 1. Both teams still within 1 here as the Huskies lead by 1 in the 7th place game, and last night had a 5-game thriller with Northern Illinois to close out the night. That was a fun one to watch, Tom. We're not sure if you got to watch much of it, but it was a pretty stellar series.
I was able to catch up till game 3 and then kind of got sidetracked, tuned back in, saw that we were in late game 5. I was like, what the heck is going on here? But it was quite the series put on by UConn, inevitably dropping to NIU, and we will get to see them play later tonight as well. But again, I liked what I saw out of them in that series, especially the way that NIU handled that loss against LA Tech and then came back and won a close one against a very good UConn team. Really has me high on them this season as well, despite making some roster moves and changes over for the Huskies. Oh, big time bump. Creed gonna be able to shoot on an open net. Thought that was gonna be an easy save. Not much reaction. Saw Matrix going back. I was like, we're gonna get a challenge. Carlitos is in net. That's a safe, easy clear. And then Mincy sends him to the Shadow Realms, puts him in the back of the net, and says, yeah, where this one's gonna go in, we tie this one up with 1:25 to go.
A minute 20 left to go in the clock here in game number 1. Both teams tied at 3 is promising. In the backfield, will launch a clear to midfield here, Somber. And for me, this series, especially comes down to defense. So both these offenses have been quite stellar when they're playing at a high level. Matrix in trouble will make the save. Carlitos will buy out the defense there for now. The final 60 seconds, both teams still knotted at 3.
This one might come down to golden goal. Unless UConn can find a nice drive here. Great defensive play coming out from Nebraska to keep this game alive and in their favor. Creed now on the pre-jump, putting some pressure on Carlitos to try to get this one away. Falls into the lap of Mincy towards the midfield stripe. Lamb to the sidewall. Going to be beat by Promising. Promising the threatening shot on target. Creed with the dunk. Will end up turning into a save here for Carlitos. A nice touch down below by Matrix. Creed lining up the double. Might find the angle. Does, but the defense is better. But no clear on the ball means Promising is free for a rebound. And Nebraska get the lead here with 23 seconds left to go.
A good way to start out the 7th place game, 4-3, 23 seconds remain, and the Cornhuskers lead by 130 to go, and this game coming down to the wire. Somber, still enough time for UConn to get back into this, but again, it's got to be here and now.
Gonna be Lamb taking this one over the top of the defense. Not enough boost to finish the play, but the bump comes through. Mincy coming from behind the play. We'll find the clear out. Promising just has to keep this in Husky territory. We'll get demoed on the play. 0-second drill is on here for UConn. Big time 50. Lamb speed flipping their way through. Can't find the touch, and back and forth. Nebraska come out with a win.
Cornhuskers lead after 1, and we saw both teams take the lead and go back and forth. We got kind of what we were asking for a close game here in game 1.
Absolutely, and I want to credit it to UConn getting some nice reps in yesterday, and Nebraska they're kind of warming up to this competition and getting their footing here for CCS. But a great showing from Connecticut to go ahead and keep this one even up until the final seconds of game 1, and hopefully still being able to ride a little bit of that momentum they did find in the first game here into game 2. Nebraska looking hot and wanting to build on their series lead will have to have a tough task ahead of them. UConn is going to be quick to try to equalize here in the series.
Game 2, we're underway. 13 minutes, going to be an early goal. It's Creed again. Nebraska lead by 1.
He just takes this solo all the way down Carlitos goes, maybe not when you have to. That's a very early jump outside your own box. You could try and challenge early, as Creed didn't have the flick on target yet, and probably try to half flip and get back on defense. But defensive mistakes is where Rocket League lives and dies, and Creed is able to capitalize on a poor judgment play there by the UConn defense, and maybe go 1v3 once more. Creed on a heater right now.
436, Creed another one, and he was that duo with Noe back when Nebraska had that really good season, and it was always Noe and Creed that just dominated offensively. Now, with Noe gone, Creed has to feel the leading offensive weapon for this Nebraska squad. He's done just that tonight.
Yeah, 2 quick goals for them to open things up. Only 30 seconds in here, and Creed is on hat trick watch, and there it is, just like that. You bring it up, and Creed knocks it down. That's 3 straight for Creed, this time assisted by Mincy. Great sidewall touch, and Creed, the anticipation to be right there on the read, go ahead and knock it through. And Creed, again, just on a different level. Something changed from game 1 going into game 2. Nebraska with a massive lead here in the opening 40 seconds.
Slam, 1-on-1, down low. The save is made wide left, and Creed already with 3 in the first minute. Sommer now trying to feed him a 4th for Mincy. The shot, no good. It won't go.
Just off target. Crossbar to deny. Mincy will get a back pass. A little dangerous as that shot would have been on target. Anyone for UConn was quick to the punch, but good timing on the defensive rotations by Nebraska. Creed pulling up that sidewall. Going to opt to play it back down low. Put some pressure on Matrix. That one is going to get back into their possession and wrapped back around. Lamb trying once more out of this corner. Pass back out to Carlitos, but shaded towards that left-hand sidewall just a little bit too much and missed out on the opportunity. Matrix free jumping that back wall play by Creed. Wanted to keep this one contained. Mincy will get this one through as Carlitos. Creed soft touch into the corner, gets their boost grabbed, but they have enough to make something work. But Lamb quick on the challenge. Promising. Trying to just get a bump, find some kind of aggression play here, leaking out towards that midfield stripe. Won't find anything as of yet. Lamb, a little bit of a 50-50 there out towards midfield. Matrix down below, gets a big time dunk. Carlitos might be able to find the read, but no, the angle is just off on the pinch. And great defense from Nebraska to keep this one out.
Play continues, 3 minutes to go, no goals in the second minute. In regulation, as Nebraska had the 3 from Creed in the opening 45, but now it's been a bit of a stalemate. We almost had a 4th from Creed earlier, but that one shut down by Lamb defensively. Now UConn in trouble here, promising. Turned away by Carlitos. UConn's defense will hold the line for now. Half the game to go. The Huskies still looking for 3.
Promising. Going to take this down dangerously off the back wall, but Mincy will be there to clean up and find a clear down the field. The back mid looking for promising. Dunk will be denied by Carlitos. Creed just gonna have another big long clear out into UConn territory and find some comfort here in the corner for the time being. Creed comes in and rushes the play, gets the dunk. Mincy low boost, but able to just pop this one high, leave it up for a teammate, or just let UConn slowly rotate through. And an absolute masterclass and bumps on the back line here in game 2. Creed finds their 4th as we had Mincy rolling through that back wall, takes out 2 on the back line, and Nebraska now extend their lead to 4.
It's 4-0. Creed is, really taken over Somber, and I think Nebraska plays Penn State this week in Big Ten play. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain it's Penn State. How do you think they fare with the Nittany Lions?
It's going to be tough. Nitrous is always going to be a player that can turn it up and have big performances like what we're seeing from Creed here. But if this is just going to be Nitrous v Creed on who's going to have the better night, it's a toss-up match in my opinion. And Penn State, I know that they have a lot of hopes here for season 7, but I think that this one could start out as a loss to start the season here if Nebraska is able to bring the same type of fight to them.
Absolutely. And Penn State, it's going to be tough. Point back to action here. 4-0 still the score. Creed trying to feed a 5th here. Couldn't find an opportunity. Matrix out of harm's way. The Huskies go down the stretch, and 70 ticks left to play. Somber still 4-0. Something's got to turn up here soon if you're UConn.
Yeah, I need to find something just to get on the board, not allow the shutout in game 2. After a tight win for Nebraska, if this one turns out to be a 4-0, just absolute demolishing of UConn, it's going to be very tough to get your head back into the game and extend this series. And at that point, you're not even thinking for game 5. You're just hoping for a game 4 after a bounce back performance in the next one. But now under 40 seconds to go, you need a goal every 10 seconds. UConn's their offense hasn't looked threatening enough to make it seem like that might happen, but Carlitos does get one on the board, and you're still looking at that goal every 10 seconds. When that happens off the kickoff here, might be an interesting game too.
Had about 11 seconds per goal, but it's more manageable. I mean, 33 seconds is not a lot of time, but 3 has to be fast.
Absolutely. Very good kickoff here for UConn. Lamb is up early. Gonna try to set up Matrix, but get a little bit tangled up going into the Nebraska corner. Carlitos will be cut off by Mincy. Now plenty of boost off that sidewall to find a 50 for a basketball dribble play downfield. Lamb was looking to feed Carlitos off that sidewall, but promising able to intercept the play at the midfield and push this one back into UConn territory. And this is all but over here, as just a formality to play out these final few seconds. And no shutout for Nebraska, but still a dominant 4-1 victory heading into game 3.
You look at Creed, I mean, 4 goals and, he had 3 in 45 seconds and then, 1 down the later stretch there. But, what a game for Creed. He's having himself a night here.
Yeah, 4 for 6, 3 saves as well. Got the hat trick and the savior in game 2, and was also getting somewhat close to 1,000 point watch, right? 829 on the scoreboard, and
second highest all weekend.
Yeah, very impressive game from Creed. I mean, to even get that hat trick in the opening 40 seconds, right, and then just be able to hold off for a little bit, tack on a 4th near halftime. Creed, just a very impressive offensive performance. And again, like I said, if they go into regular season play, especially against an opponent like Penn State, and Creed is playing like this, they're going to be another scary team out in the Big Ten.
Absolutely they are. And I think that was the second highest point total we've seen this weekend, outside of last night's 943 performance at a quantity, and I think it was game 1 against FAU. But Lamb can find UConn their first lead since game 1.
Nice bump on Creed as well. Forces them into awkward defensive positioning. And didn't expect Lamb to get that little pop right back into that back wall area of Nebraska's defense. And Creed trying to find a save off their own post, ends up knocking it through. But UConn will take them how they get them. They find the lead here in game 3, trying to just extend the series. Creed again did a double jump and put a rocket on target, promising off the rebound. We'll find it through, and UConn, something with their defense. They get these initial saves to go. Everyone's kind of scrambling back. Not the best clear. Nebraska has just been capitalizing time and time again.
That they have been. And who but Creed again to score? That's promising on the goal. Creed got the assist, I believe. He's not involved. The camera was showing, okay, there's Creed's goal. 2-1.
He was just pre-jumping the comms. Creed does get on the board. This time off the kickoff. And again, the kickoff was a big point of emphasis in game 2. I believe Creed got 2 out of his initial hat trick off of kickoff. So early lead here for Nebraska. They erased that 1-0 deficit very quickly. Might find a third here as well, promising 8-ball corner pocket. Can't find it, but again, UConn, you get the save, but a poor clear means it's a free and easy rebound, and Creed gets their second in a row off that poor clear, goes opposite post. Nebraska up 3-1 just like that.
4:27, Creed again, and it's just 6 goals, Somber, in just the last 5.5 minutes.
Absolutely insane gameplay coming out from Nebraska here, but to be expected to a degree. Again, I thought UConn was going to put up a much better fight especially after that game 1 performance and how they looked last night against their opponents running through the bracket. And right now, Nebraska just showing why they're going to be a threat and a force in the Big Ten here this season for season 7. Promising to carry this one all the way down the length of the pitch. Had a flip reset, but will get negated by the UConn defense. Carlitos able to make a little bit of an extension play there and find a touch across the pitch. Matrix gets played out below by Creed. Carlitos uses a lot of their boost just to get this one to the sidewall. Creed back to the backboard, promising, trying to find a bump. Mincy to put that one right into a UConn defender. Carlitos downfield, no boost. Then in Matrix, double commit here. Creed stays patient on that close post. We'll find the save and the clear out through their corner. Mincy off the dribble. We'll get 50 by Matrix. A quick go from Matrix. Gets 2 to go for Nebraska. Now a bump on Carlitos might stall things out, but they have a play. Demo comes through, 2 go again for UConn, and these double commits are going to be something to pay attention to down the stretch as Nebraska looking to capitalize on the poor rotations. Shot again, denied, but promising right there to clean up the play.
And Creed's got the assist. He stays involved in this offensive possession, and a lot of time still to go, Scomber. 1 minute per goal if you're UConn here, but how do you turn the tides after the way this series has gone?
It's got to be getting better about those double commits on defense. If you're not going to find the save and the clear, you need one person to go for the save and have a second man to back you up in net. You need to have a little bit tighter defensive rotations, as 3 out of these 4 goals have been just a good quality shot from Nebraska and a nice save, but it just lingers right back out to the box. And the second man for Nebraska is capitalizing on it by just being quick on the rotate in to replace that first man after the initial shot. They're able to find easy goals off of it. And then the fourth being, of course, that kickoff goal that we saw to open things up 2-1 in Nebraska's favor. But if UConn can settle down and just get tighter on those defensive rotations and have a little downfield plays like this on offense, they could start to turn things around, as you still got 2:20 left to go.
That demo might have just saved a goal too for Nebraska on that last possession for UConn. That initial demo by Creed, I think, killing Carlitos, saved the goal potentially. The 2-minute warning approaching us here. Still down by 3. Creed trying to make it 4. There's another hat trick.
And still keeping up the trend. We got 100% goal participation for Nebraska in this game 3. Everything firing on all cylinders. Creed, hat trick, an assist, 2 saves, 6 shots. They're putting up another magnificent performance here in game 3 as they look to seal the deal. With 2 minutes left, kickoff goal might be good, but Creed will be able to rotate around, put that third in the save column as well. Mincy going to be dunked by their own teammate as they're falling from ceiling, trying to just get out the way, but end up playing defender for a moment, promising on the back wall. Quite a launch to the ceiling. Matrix to read off that sidewall and put it right back in dangerous territory for Nebraska. Promising, staying patient. Creed and Mincy both go. That's everyone in the lobby for Nebraska jumping for that ball. They still have the wherewithal to get this one out of dangerous territory and try to advance downfield. Out of the corner, Mincy, not the best touch. Lamb will be there. Snipe off the doink from the defender. Lamb gets a second on the board here for the Huskies.
1:28 to go. And UConn, just, they've been put into submission, Somber. I mean, again, they just did score, but this Nebraska offense came to play tonight, and they conquered.
Yeah, again, it's the lacking lethality for UConn on their offensive pushes. They haven't looked very threatening. They haven't looked as impressive as they did last night. And it all starts with Nebraska and them being at the midfield. They're able to cut so many of these plays off before they even have a chance to develop. And when they do get past that midfield line and get into Nebraska territory, someone's on the back wall, someone's out of the corner, able to take possession, able to bleed time and take the ball back into UConn territory and make them fight once more. Promising, gonna get a good touch back to the backboard. Mincy wanted a bump, gets bumped instead by Matrix. Now a clear out. Move for Carlitos, gonna play that one to the field side, but Creed already up, can't find the read. Carlitos, beautiful catch, trying to slice up the defense, but can't find it. Matrix goes once more off the back wall. Add 2 up for UConn. Carlitos gonna fake it, just rip a shot. It will be too high, and Mincy deals with it anyways. 30 seconds to go, and looks all but over here for UConn.
23 seconds, the clock starting to tick down, Somber, and UConn just didn't really have much in the tank today to compete with the firepower that Nebraska showed us tonight. And now Nebraska going into league play. Penn State up first in the Big Ten, and they get a tall order ahead of them. The work cut out for them. UConn will open with Villanova and DePaul in the Big East, and we'll see how their season will go in the conference play. But that's going to do it for the 7th place game. Nebraska beats UConn in 3.
And again, a dominant performance here for Nebraska, and looking towards Penn State. going into this one and not seeing much of Nebraska that really impressed me to the degree that they have through this game here tonight to kick things off. I would have said Penn State would be an easy favorite, but I think Nebraska, the newfound kind of life for Creed, is going to make them a force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten. And as Mincy and Promising learn to play a little bit more around that, get more involved on the offensive side, and not just have it be the Creed show like what we saw here today, it's going to be an interesting season to keep tabs on Nebraska.
Absolutely, it is. I'm excited to see how Nebraska season will go after what we watched tonight. And I sucks I didn't get to watch them play last night, but they showed us a good showing tonight. Hopefully, they do well in the Big Ten, and best of luck to both teams going forward. We're going to go to break, though. When I come back, FAU takes on West Virginia for 5th place